Dave Chappelle just released a new Netflix special, another comedy special, another stand-up. Dave Chappelle's a funny guy, but he's been a little bit obsessive with the topics of the LGBTQ community and what he feels is unnatural and crazy and strange. Let's listen to what he had to say in this particular clip.
And they've canceled people that are more powerful than me. They canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad as they started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments. TERF is an acronym. Stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. This is a real thing. Now, I shouldn't speak on this because I am not a woman, nor am I a trans. But as we've established, I am a feminist. I'm Team TERF. I agree, man. Gender is a fact. You have to look at it from a woman's perspective. Gender is a fact. This is a fact. Every human being in this room, every human being on earth had to pass through the legs of a woman to be on earth. That is a fact.
I'm having trouble quitting Dave Chappelle, although some have already. It's just, we're seeing a lot more and more of stand-up specials and comedians looking more like preachers and motivational speakers and political pundits and anything else. Yes, politics and society and rules and all that stuff have always been a part of comedy. So I'm not saying that. It's just what seems to be more of like an anger and an attack is more of the energy we're getting lately. Now, I'm sure the rest of the special had plenty of funny jokes and plenty of things that had to do with lighthearted topics or even probably serious topics that he took a lighthearted approach to, which is what comedy's always been. But there's just weird grievance going on and people feel this need to have to tell everyone how right they are and how wrong everyone else is around them. And that I'm just saying because I said so. Who the are you? Like, why does anyone who's trans give what you said? I don't understand why then they will listen to you and you said, it's just what it is. And they go, oh, didn't think that till Dave Chappelle said so. Where's the authority come from in that? Now, if you want to argue a point and have a debate and talk all that, throw some facts behind it. Do something else that would be like, maybe I'm gonna convince someone so that my point of view becomes the norm, becomes the thought process that everyone has because man, people have gone off the rails, they're crazy. Let me give you some facts and figures and some reality based off of why this is the case. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, so I want to propose something radical here, that we could say that Dave Chappelle is totally wrong and ignorant on this, which he most certainly is, which I'll prove in a second. But we don't have to go to hating him forever. So we don't have to go to canceling him. We can say, hey, you know what, Dave, you're an idiot on that. And then maybe watch the special. And if it's not funny for the third time, I didn't think the last two were funny. Then we go, okay, well, I'm not watching him, not because I have some sort of policy, but because the last two were kind of a bore. Why were they a bore? It's because of what Jayar's talking about. Politics and social commentary is so deeply ingrained in comedy forever, and it should be. But you ain't George Carlin. Sorry, he was the best at it. And this isn't just about Dave Chappelle. They're almost like about half of them are obsessed with this now. And they forgot to be funny. So they'll come on, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's courageous to be anti-trans. Watch me do it. Oh, I'm so courageous. I'm pushing your buttons. Okay, trans people, you're not a fact. Oh yeah. Do I get an award for courage? Do I get it? When do I get it? When do I get the Purple Heart? Right? No, you don't get it, Dave. By the way, where the was the joke? Okay, I didn't see a single joke in there, right? I watched the longer part, and I mean, like the Caitlyn Jenner thing was They're quarter funny. And by the way, guys, I'm not against trans jokes. I'm Muslim. I'm not against Muslim jokes. I tell you all the time. Like there was this a couple of years after 9/11, I went to a thing, comedy show. This guy's ripping Muslims, but in a hilarious way. You know he didn't mean it. I know when people mean it, right? I know when people are just making jokes and they're part of the family and they're friends and they're joking around. But Dave doesn't look like he's part of the family anymore, right? And I don't mean some sort of liberal family and now we're going to banish him. You will now go into the lib woods, right? No, I mean part of the family like, hey, we're all friends here and we make jokes about each other and that's okay. But no, that stuff he said about it's a fact that there are genders. That's third grade Ben Shapiro stuff. Okay, that's embarrassing. So let me show you how simple it is to get rid of that stupid argument. He said, when you come out of we all come out of a woman, that's a fact. Genders are real, that's a fact. Okay, that's a fact. And then people then identify as the other gender. That's also a fact. What, they're lying? They change their whole lives? They change sometimes their anatomy? Because they're what? It's not a fact? They're all lying? By the way, ironically, you know what that sounds like? It sounds like racists who said, oh no, black people aren't being abused by cops. All black people are lying, right? All trans people are lying about what they feel inside and what they actually identify as? No, it's a fact that people were born one way. It's a fact that certain people feel a different way. It's a fact in how they've lived their lives. Just leaving it at fact A is so stupid. I mean, everybody's born with these, so I must be right. Okay, maybe that's funny, okay, but accidentally. So you don't have to, and by the way, I hate cancel culture when it makes no sense and you're canceling people for something they said when they were 17 years old or in 1937, although 37 would have been a bad year. But this isn't that, he just said it and he means it. And does it make a difference? Yes, a lot of people look up to Dave Chappelle and they can't do what I'm doing right here, which is like, hey, I like his old stuff. I like some of his new stuff, but that stuff is right there is ignorant. They think, oh, Chappelle said it must be true. Oh, he's the brave one. You're not brave, you're just stupid.
Yeah, I want to say first, I'm 3 for 3 times on the power panel. Not yet once have I accidentally tripped up and sworn. So a big you to Dave Chappelle for all of this nonsense. It's I love when comedians do that thing where they're like, people get canceled. I really shouldn't say this. I'm filming my Netflix special, but here's some bigotry. Like it's to drive engagement. It's to create a controversy. You want to be canceled because that's going to drive views. Because canceling doesn't really work. It's not a real thing. Like if now that he's got all this controversy around him, his special's getting more views. I also want to say it's extremely sexist to reduce the value of women to their reproductive abilities. Lots of cis women cannot give birth. Are they less of a woman because they can't give birth, Dave Chappelle? And it is not a fact that every child comes out of a vagina. One, C-sections exist. Like, have you not heard of those? That's a thing. And also, the person who is pregnant and giving birth might not identify as a woman. They could identify as non-binary. They could identify as a man or whatever they want to be, because gender is factually a social construct. It's not something you're not. I mean, and we know this because. Throughout history, there's been different conceptions of what gender is, and different cultures are different conceptions of what gender is. But yeah, ultimately, he called himself a feminist and then said some extraordinarily sexist bull. So, and also TERF is a real thing. J.K. Rowling is a TERF from the island of TERFs, where the TERFs congregate to do TERFism. That's the UK.
But the Young Turks is not a good show. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. So look, again, all of this is so childish because like, oh, did you know God created us with different genitalia? I win. Well, we're animals. There are animals that switch their genders. This is like really stupid right-wing stuff like, God did not create anybody gay. Yeah, he did. Why are they that? Why do they like? Again, they're not lying. They're guys who are into other guys, and they can prove it. Okay. So, and they exist in nature. Ta-da! Lots of them. And there are also gay penguins. I mean, we have to say the most obvious things in the world. There are other animals that switch genders. Why do they do that? Because it's part of nature. It happens naturally. To think that that humans are a special kind of animal that would not have any issues with like not having clear genders. And as Rayyvana pointed out, it's a human construct anyway. So if you don't know what that means, so race is a human construct. So what does that mean? Are people like, okay, somebody's either black or they're white? Are they? Think about it. We just call them black and we call them white, but it's kind of random. Italians are kind of brown. Mexicans are kind of brown. Turks are kind of brown, kind of white. Italians are kind of white. You know why? Because the northern Italians are right next to Switzerland, so they seem whiter. The southern Italians are next to Africa almost, and they seem more brown because they are. But they're all called white. Why? Because it's a thing that we constructed for us to categorize people in different ways to make our lives simpler. But it has a lot of downsides. And gender is also a human construct. You are male, you are female, right? And so, well, what if you were like many other animals, you were born one way, but your mind thinks something else, right? I mean, come on, this is so obvious. And the part about all this that actually I'm most disappointed at is that I thought Chappelle was smart. And I hope he is in other ways, right? I mean, it doesn't get rid of all of his past work. I mean, you watch the Chappelle show from Comedy Central, that's still the best stuff on earth, right? And we're not gonna go retroactively cancel his earlier funniness, okay? At least I'm not, right? That stuff was funny, right? And that's when he was at his prime, and he was part of the family, and he made fun of the different races and different things and brought out truths with that humor. Now they're all stuck in a giant, ironically, genitalia measuring contest of who can be braver. Oh yeah, I'll piss other people off by being even dumber than you. And they all say it like, watch this, watch this. I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm so courageous. Okay, hatred towards other people, yes. No.
It's so weird. I don't know. There's a thing. By the way, the first thing I always wonder is, why do you care? And it's kind of what I was pointing out at first. Why do you care? I have opinions about what people do with their lives and how they do it and what car they bought, because I'm a car person. But why do I care enough to then go on stage, or even say I have a level of platform here, go on the show and be like, you know what? People who drive Priuses just need to stop it. That's what I feel, because I think Priuses are useless to a degree for what I like to do with cars. But if someone decides to do that with their life, why is that sticking in my chest like, I gotta say it. Why is that so important to you? Why is it so important to you what someone does with their life? And if you think they made a mistake and they chopped off some genitalia and oh my God, you're never getting that back again, bro. Why are you thinking about it? Why do you care what's between their legs? Why do you care who their partner is? Why do you care how they have a child? Why do you care how they cut their hair and what clothes they wear and what color it is and what shoes it is and what underwear they put on and what name they give themselves? Why does that matter to you? Do you go to bed and go, for the millions of people who are trans, probably, I can't give you the full number. So of the number of people that are trans, you go to bed every night and think about every one of them before you can go to sleep. How dare he? Oh, how dare she? Oh, how dare he? How dare she? What a miserable life. Why can't you just go about your life? It's so hard. It's so much harder to care about someone else's life when you've got yours to live. And you were doing pretty good, by the way. So why are we still thinking about other folks?
It's such a great point. And I'll add one last thing to it. Why do you keep saying that you know what they think better than they do? What a weird claim, right? I like the Steelers. No, you don't. How do you know? But I do like the Steelers. No, you don't. What a bizarre thing, right? What an insane thing to say. I changed my life to structure it around the Steelers. No, you didn't. No, that's because I really like the Steelers. No, it's all a trick. It's absurd. There isn't something wrong with trans people. There's something wrong with people who are obsessed with denying their reality, and they should get counseling. That's all. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.